Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Avatareshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 3, the Bhumi Gita. We are starting new chapter today, text number 1 onwards. Shri Shukuvacha Drishtvatmani Jai Vyagra Pripan Hasati Bhuryam Aho Ma Vijigi Shanti Mrityo Kridanaka Nripa. Shukdev Goswami said, seeing the kings of this earth busy trying to conquer her, the earth herself laughed. She said, just see how these kings, who are actually playthings in the hands of death, are desiring to conquer me. And this mentality is still there even today. Every king, every country is trying to conquer some other country. Whether not physically, but economically or other ways. Kamayesh Narendranam Mogasya Dvidushamapi Yena Fenopame Pinde Yati Vishrambhitan Nripa. Great rulers of men, even those who are learned, meet frustration and failure because of material lust. Driven by lust, these kings place great hope and faith in the dead lump of flesh called the body, even though the material frame is as fleeting as bubbles of foam on water. Material frame or material body is as fleeting as the bubbles of foam on water. How long these last? Not for too long. But we think we're gonna live forever. Purvam nirjitya shadvargam jeshyamo rajamantrina tatah sachiva paurapta karindra nasya kantakam evam kramena jeshyama prithvim sagara mekhalam ityasha badhridaya na pashyanti antike antakam. Kings and politicians imagine, first I'll conquer my senses and mind, then I'll subdue my chief ministers and rid myself of the thorn pricks of my advisors, citizens, friends, and relatives, as well as the keepers of my elephants. In this way, I'll gradually conquer the entire earth. Because the hearts of these leaders are bound by great expectations, they fail to see death waiting nearby. So to satisfy the greed for power, determined politicians, dictators, and military leaders undergo severe austerities and sacrifice with much self-discipline. Then they lead their great nations in a struggle to control the sea, land, air, and space. Although the politicians and their followers will soon be dead, since birth and death are all inevitable in this world, they persist in their frantic struggle for ephemeral glory. And the world is like that forever. Everybody is like that. Samudravaranam jitva mam vishanti abdi mojasa kiyadatma jayasya tan muktiratma jaya phalam. After conquering all the land on my surface, these proud kings forcibly enter the ocean to conquer the sea itself. What's the use of this self-control, which is aimed at political exploitation? The actual goal of self-control is spiritual liberation. For self-control, they show, these days, what the politicians do? They show self-control and do all sorts of padayatra and growing beard and doing this, that for the citizens to get what? To get some votes. So that now I have controlled myself, now I can control you. Yam visrijyev manvas tatsutasya kurudvaha gata yatha gatam yuddhe tam mam jeshyanti abudhaya. O best of the Kurus, the earth continued as follows. Although in the past Great men and their descendants have left me, departing from this world in the same helpless way they came into it. Even today, foolish men are trying to conquer me. Mat krite pitri putranam bhratrinam chaabhivigraha jayata hi asatam rajye mamata baddha chetasam. For the sake of conquering me, materialistic persons fight one another. Fathers oppose their sons and brothers fight one another because their hearts are bound to possessing political power. Mamaveyam mahi Krishna nate mudeti vadinam svartamana mitognanti mriyante matkrite nirpa. Political leaders challenge one another. All this land is mine, it's not yours, you fool. Thus they attack one another and die. This verse describes with brilliant clarity the mundane political mentality that provokes innumerable conflicts in the world. For example, as we prepare this translation of Srimad Bhagavatam, British and Argentine military forces are bitterly fighting over the tiny Falkland Islands. The fact is that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all land. Of course, even in a God-conscious world, political boundaries exist. But in such a God-conscious atmosphere, political tensions are greatly eased and people of all lands welcome each other and respect each other's right to live in peace. But this fighting mentality, conflicts, all over. This land is my land, that land is your land. It's been going on forever. Prithupuru Rava Gadhir, Nahusho Bharato Arjuna, Mandhata Sagro Rama, Khatvango Dhundu Harako, Trinabindur Yayatischa Sharyati Shantanur Gaya, Bhagiratha Kavalayashva, Kakutstho, Nashadhun Riga, Hiranyakashira Puturvritru, Ravano Loka Ravana, Namuchi, Shambaro Bhomo, Hiranyakshu Attaraka, Anyacha Bhavo Daitya, Rajano Ye Maheshwara, Sarve Sarva Vida Shura, Sarve Sarva Jito Jitaha, Mamata Maya Vartanta, Kritochara Martya Dharmina, Kathavashesha Kalena, Sri Kritartha, Kritavipo. Such kings as Prithu, Pururava, Gadhi, Nahusha, Bharat, Kartavir, Arjun, Mandhata, Sagar, Rama, Khatvang, Dhundura, Raghu, Trinabindu, Yayati, Sharyati, Shantanu, Gaya, Bhagirat, Kuvalayashva, Kakushta, Nashad, Nriga, Hiranyakashipu, Vrita, Ravan, who made the whole world lament, Namuchi, Shambar, Bhauma, Hiranyaksha and Taraka, as well as many other demons and kings who possessed great powers of control over others, were all full of knowledge, heroic, all-conquering and unconquerable. Nevertheless, O Almighty Lord, although they lived their lives intensely trying to possess me, these kings were subject to the passage of time, which reduced them all to mere historical accounts. None of them could permanently establish their rule. Nobody is permanent. According to Srila Sridhar Swami and as confirmed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the king Ram mentioned here is not the incarnation of God at Ramchandra. Prithu Maharaj is understood to be an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God, who completely exhibited the characteristics of an earthly king, claiming proprietorship over the entire earth. A saintly king like Prithu Maharaj, however, controls the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of God, whereas a king such as Hiranyakashipu or Ravan tries to exploit the earth for his personal sense gratification. Nevertheless, both the saintly kings and demons must leave the earth. In this way, the political supremacy is ultimately neutralized by the force of time. Modern political leaders cannot even temporarily control the entire earth, nor are their opulences and intelligence unlimited. Possessing hopelessly fragmented power, enjoying a minuscule lifespan, and lacking deep existential intelligence, modern leaders inevitably are symbols of frustration and misdirected ambition. But when they have the power, they think we are all in all. And we can do anything and everything that we want. Kathaimaste kathita mahyasam vitaya lokeshu yasha pareyusham vijnana vairagya vivakshya vibho vacho vibhutirna tu parmarthyam. Shukdev Goswami said, O mighty Parikshit, I have related to you the narrations of all these great kings who spread their fame throughout the world and then departed. My real purpose was to teach transcendental knowledge and renunciation. Stories of kings lend power and opulence to these narrations, but do not in themselves constitute the ultimate aspect of knowledge. Since all the narrations of Srimad Bhagavatam bring the reader to perfection of transcendental knowledge, they all give supreme spiritual lessons though apparently dealing with kings or other mundane subject matter. In relation with Krishna, all ordinary topics become transcendental narrations with the power to bring the reader to the perfection of life. So all these stories are there in Bhagavatam, but ultimately to bring us to the level of knowledge, renunciation, and devotion, ultimately devotion. Yasta uttam shloka gunanuvada sangiyate abhikshanam mangalagna tameva nityam shrunuyad abhikshanam krishnayamalam bhaktim abhipsamana. The person who desires pure devotion service to Lord Krishna should hear the narrations of Lord Uttam Shlokas, glorious qualities, the constant chanting of which destroys everything inauspicious. The devotee should engage in such listening in regular daily assemblies and should also continue his hearing throughout the day. Since any topic related to Lord Krishna is auspicious and transcendent, the direct narration of Lord Krishna's own activities, political and non-political, is certainly the supreme subject matter for hearing. The word Nityam here indicates regulated cultivation of the topics of Lord Krishna, and Abhikshanam indicates constant remembrance of such regulated spiritual experiences. So that's what the human life is for. Nothing else. Not to listen to political talks or political activities, sports or this or that. Only listen to Krishna's activities. Remember Krishna's activities. Whole day, every day. Shri Rajuvacha, Keno Payena Bhagwan, Kalera Doshana, Kalo Jana, Vidham Ishyanti Chittans, Tanne Bruhi, Yatha Mune. King Parikshit said, My Lord, how can persons living in the age of Kali rid themselves of the cumulative contamination of this age? O great sage, please explain this to me. King Parikshit was a compassionate, saintly ruler. Thus, after hearing of the abominable qualities of the age of Kali, he naturally inquired as to how those born in this age can free themselves of its inherent contamination. King Parikshit is about to leave his body. He's asking this question for us. But also at the end of his life, he wants to make sure he covers all the bases. That means he does things that is required. Yugani yug dharman shamanam pralaya kalpayo kalasyeshwara rupasya gatim vishnor mahatmanaha. Please explain the different ages of universal history, the special qualities of each age, the duration of cosmic maintenance and destruction, and the moment of time, which is a direct representation of the Supreme Soul, the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Shri Shukavacha, Krite pravartate dharmash chatushpata janer dhrita Satyam Deya Tapodanam Iti Pada Vibhor Nripa. Shukdev Goswami said, My dear king, in the beginning during Satyuga, the age of truth, religion is present with all four of its legs intact and is carefully maintained by the people of that age. These four legs of powerful religion are truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and charity. Satya, Daya, Satya, Daya, Tap, and Dan. Satya, Daya, Tap, and Dan. Just as there are four seasons, there are four ages of earth, each lasting hundreds and thousands of years. The first of these is Satyuga, when such good qualities as charity are prominent. Actual charity here referred to as dhanam, to award fearlessness and freedom to others, not to give them some material means of temporary pleasure or relief. So actual charity is to award fearless and freedom to others. So fearlessness, that can only come when somebody becomes spiritually motivated. Any material charitable arrangement will inevitably be crushed by the onward march of time. This only realization of one's eternal existence beyond the reach of time can make one fearless, and only freedom from material desire constitutes real freedom, for it enables one to escape the bondage of the laws of nature. Therefore, real charity is to help people revive their eternal spiritual consciousness. Religion is here referred to as Vibhu, the mighty, because universal religious principles are not different from the Supreme Lord himself and ultimately lead one to his kingdom. The qualities mentioned here, truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and charity, are universe, non-sectarian aspects of pious life. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the fourth leg of religion is listed as cleanliness. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this is an alternative definition of the word dana in the present context. Okay, so cleanliness means that is mentioned as a fourth leg. But here, Bhagavatam says danam is the fourth leg. They're pretty much the same meaning as it is said. Santushta Karuna Maitra Shanta Danta Stitikshava Atma Rama Samdrisha Prayasha Shramana Janaha. The people of Satyuga are for the most part self-satisfied, merciful, friendly to all, peaceful, sober, and tolerant. They take their pleasure from within, see all things equally, and always endeavor diligently for spiritual perfection. So Samdarshan, equal vision, is based on the perception of the Supreme Spirit behind all material variety and within all living entities. So that is Satyuga. And can you imagine, from Kali Yuga, Satyuga will start and people will become like these. There will be some transition period, but because of presence of the Lord, Kalki Avatar, and then everybody will come to their real sense and they will develop these qualities. Or these qualities will manifest. Tretayam dharma padanam turyanshu hiyate shana adharma padar nrita hinsha santosha vigraha. In Treta Yuga, each leg of religion is gradually reduced by 1/4 by the influence of the four pillars of irreligion, which are lying, violence, dissatisfaction, and quarrel. By falsity, truth is diminished. By violence, mercy is diminished. By dissatisfaction, austerity is diminished. And by quarrel, charity and cleanliness are diminished. So here it is said, some other places are different. Like here it is said, each leg is reduced by 1/4. And some other place it is said, each leg starts disappearing. Like in Satyuga, 4 legs were there. In Treta Yuga, on 3 legs will be left. In Dwapar, 2 legs will be left, and in Kali Yuga, only one leg will be left. Even that will be disappearing slowly. So, but the point is, religion is definitely getting reduced. Tada kriya taponishta nati hinsrana lampata traivargika striya vridha varna brahmottara nripa. In Treta Yuga, people are devoted to ritual performances and severe austerities. They are not excessively violent or very lusty after sensual pleasure. Their interest lies primarily in religiosity, economic development, and regulated sense gratification. And they achieve prosperity by following the prescriptions of the 3 Vedas. Although in this age, society evolves into 4 separate classes. As king, most people are Brahmins. Tapa satya daya daneshva ardham hiyas saraswati dvapare hinsa tushtyati nrita dveshar dharmasya dharma lakshana. In Dwapar Yuga, the religious qualities of austerity, truth, mercy, and charity are reduced to one half by their irreligious counterparts, dissatisfaction, untruth, violence, and enmity. Yashasvino Mahashila Swadhyaya Dhyayane Rata Adhya Kutumbino Rihirishta Varna Kshatra Dvijottaraha. In the Dwapar age, people are interested in glory and are very noble. They devote themselves to the study of the Vedas, possess great opulence, support large families, and enjoy life with vigor. One of the 4 classes, the Kshatriyas and Brahmins, are most of the 4 classes. The Kshatriyas and Brahmins are most numerous. Now comes Kali Yuga. Kalojo dharma padanam duryansho adharma hetuhi edhamane kshiyamano yante sopi vinangshati. In the age of Kali, only 1/4 of the religious principles remains. That last remnant will continuously be decreased by the ever-increasing principles of irreligion and will finally be destroyed. Tasmin lubda durachara nirdaya shushka varina durbhaga bhuri tarshascha shudra dasottara praja. In the Kali age, people tend to be greedy, ill-behaved, and merciless, and they fight one another without any good reason. Unfortunate and obsessed with material desires, the people of Kali Yuga are almost all Shudras and barbarians. In this age, we can already observe that most people are laborers, clerks, fishermen, artisans, or other kinds of workers within the Shudra category. Enlightened devotees of God and noble political leaders are extremely scarce. And even independent businessmen and farmers are a vanishing breed as huge business conglomerates increasingly convert them into subservient employees. Vast regions of earth are already populated by barbarians and semi-barbarous peoples, making the entire situation dangerous and bleak. The Krishna consciousness movement is empowered to rectify the current dismal state of affairs. It's the only hope for ghastly age called Kali Yuga. So this is the Kali Yuga. People are going to be, already are Shudras and barbarian in nature. So anyway, I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, this shloka number 21, when the last line is, if maximum people will be were Brahmins. So are they talking about number of people Brahmins or quality-wise Brahmins?
Well, both. Brahman doesn't mean by caste. There was no caste in Treta Yuga. Or Treta Yuga, Varnashram system started. So quality-wise, Varnashram is based on guna and karma,
Yeah.
not on birth.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there will be Brahman nature, and so there would be Brahmins mostly, most of them.
So Varnashram system was not there, Treta Yuga mein.
No, I'm sorry. Treta Yuga, yes, it started. It is
started.
mentioned here.
Okay.
Although in this way, society evolves into 4 separate classes. Yes,
Acha, okay.
but most people are Brahmins.
Mm,
Because that quality they had.
okay.
Now most of them are Shudras, so even less than Shudras.
Mm. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Anta. I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Krishna. Jai